And thank you for joining in. And sorry about the delay. Our screen and the is playing up a little bit, but that's what technology does. Well, thank you first for registering. It's so often that we see a webinar, an event, a seminar, and we think, yep, this sounds something we should, book in for. And then life takes over and we are not able to make it. So thank you for showing up. So I'm, I'm, I'm I'm sure you must be curious about how social media advertising, um, can work to grow your business. So if you've had mixed results or you are unsure about where to start, then here is an opportunity to uncover the ins and outs of Facebook and Instagram advertising and get massive returns from not so massive budgets. Um, and and when I say not so massive budgets, uh, it I mean if earlier if you had to do any advertising, sorry, I can see that probably the screen is just looping for you and you can't see things, but I've got a couple of people here who are trying to figure out what's happening. So one of the things which quite a few people have shared is that how do you with advertising you always have to have sometimes a really good high budget to reach out to get your message sent to the right target audience. But Facebook advertising is such a scalable and such a predictable and such a powerful way of sending one-on-one message and tailoring that message to be completely customized to that audience. And what I'll share with you over the next hour is what are some of the things that you can do to grow your business and get your message in front of the target audience, and and get massive returns from it. Uh, so let me start with my promise to you. I By the end of the hour, I think now at least the screens are not playing on you. Hopefully, if this your screen is still sort of playing up and looping, just send right on the chat message so we know that some people are having problem. And if you can see it all well, that's great. Thank you. Let us know then either as well. So what I want, what I'm sure will happen by the end of this session is for you, by the end of the webinar, you will be able to walk away with full confidence on whether Facebook advertising is for you, for your business, and give you the confidence to really dive deep into it, or you stay, you say that, yeah, well, probably knowing now what I know about it, it's really not for me. So whichever way you decide, this will help you to take a really informed decision. So we can help you, with advertising. As a business, there are so many new channels which present itself, and as a marketer, there has never been a better opportunity for us to have all these different tools and methods available to us to give to sort of put our message across. It also is a challenge knowing which channel is the most will work for you, how you should play on it, what sort of budgets should you allocate to it. So there are there are different decisions to be made on. You can't be everywhere and you can't do everything, but knowing what will be most effective for your business and knowing what is working for other businesses helps us sometimes to take the right decisions. And what I will share during this presentation is some real examples of projects that we are working on. to give you a bit of a confidence and knowledge of what is the right thing for you. So, should you do Facebook advertising? Um, is Facebook advertising the right for you? And should you do Facebook advertising? Um, is, um, and really, I like to reframe the question to say, should you do advertising? Perhaps, and that really is, if you think that you should be advertising, then you should be doing Facebook advertising as well. Um, and because Facebook is such a, the way they have smartened up their tools, it helps us to have our method and our message really targeted and defined. So let me start with sharing a little bit about myself as well, probably, and or and so you know who you're speaking to, or who's presenting, or who's on the other side of the webinar. But before that, I'll share with you a couple of few myths about social media, which I see sort of heard a lot. Uh, Quite a few people who were skeptical about all social, and have now subsequently jumped into social, feel that it's the free part that works. So what they do is, they would they've created the organic channels, they have created a Facebook account, they've created Instagram account, they are most likely on LinkedIn if they are a B2B business. I mean, if their client is a B2B professional, and sometimes may also have be on Twitter. And what I hear from them is that it's the organic part, it's the engagement, it's the content, it's the information that you share that works. It is what is natural, what's organic, that's what connects. And there is truth to it. You can't, if you just decide to use Facebook advertising and not have any other Facebook presence, it's not to say that advertising will not be effective, because you can run Facebook advertising and direct obviously people to your website, but to just use Facebook as a platform without then using that same turf in which you got a client to not interact with the client is not the most effective. So the paid component to Facebook really adds a whole level of power to advertise to that channel. And advertising, as you may have noticed, after Facebook made changes to its algorithm, the EdgeRank, the news feed that you see will mostly be delivered or sort of determined by Facebook itself. So the kind of posts that you see will depend on what sort of engagement that post has had organically, how many people have liked it, how many people have commented on it, which of your friends have commented on it. Based on that, Facebook will show you that feed. And many a times, other pages, so let's say, let's talk Facebook as a personal profile for a minute, which will help to understand how it would work for a business page as well. So on an average, let's say on an average, most people would have, let's say, 500, friends that they have. That's what Facebook says. So of the people that you have on your Facebook friends, on an average, one per day, maybe 40 of them have made a post on Facebook. You will see the feed of only 5 or 6 come up, not all the rest. And that is determined by Facebook itself and how it is showing the feeds of the people on your news feed, on your personalized news feed. Somebody else may see a different feed based on, even if they had exactly the same number of friends, and you shared mutual friends, even then it would be different. So organic has its limit in terms of who you would reach, and it does not reach the entire audience, the entire people that you who follow you or who like you, which is why with advertising, you get that power to push your message out to people who you think would benefit from that message. And you're sort of out there pushing your message onto their newsfeed. So, in some ways, yes, the how Facebook has sort of worked over the last so many years is it uh, with all the information, every detail of our life and our friends' lives that we put on Facebook, Facebook has been storing everything, and it has made all that data as searchable for its advertisers. So sitting quietly in the back end, Facebook is collecting all the information about people's lives, what they like, what they engage with, what their posts are, and all that powerful information that people have shared with Facebook. Facebook has now made it available for its advertisers to access, which gives them the option to access information based on interests, on likes, on life stages, on what is currently going on with their life and the kind of content that they are currently engaging with and have, sort of historically engaged with as well. So, while there is benefit to the free part, it's the paid advertising component has a lot of power in it, which when sort of tapped can really help to grow your business, and that's really what we want to do, right? Um, and the next thing that I hear people say about advertising is that all you need is just an image and some text. That's all. Isn't that what Facebook advertising is? You put an image, you put a headline, some text, and a call to action. It's that simple. And technically, yes, that's all that's needed. But really, it's the ability of this ad to stand out against other ads, other content, and other the information that is on the news feed. So some ads, they catch your eye immediately. They have good, high contrasting, bright colors, strong visuals, and that's what will build that's what is the difference between an effective ad and a non-effective ad. The Facebook ad platform itself, with its huge targeting power and complex features, is quite a handful even for the most seasoned marketing professionals. And while the content is the image, this text, and the headline are just small components to it, it's the together with all other factors, they add a bit of complexity to this advertising platform. um, the next thing that I hear a lot of people talk about is that, yeah, I know Facebook advertising may work, and I've seen it work for companies who sell direct to consumers, but we are a B2B business, or our industry is very different. Our products are very boring, and it will not work for our industry. Again, I'll share some examples with you on pretty boring industries, and as boring as drainage and pits, which can probably be the lowest level of how boring things can get, on how you could use that to be more effective. And I've also heard a few people who say, oh, look, I don't want to do Facebook advertising. I don't want to annoy people while they are browsing Facebook. And it's not annoying if it is relevant. It will be annoying if you have not targeted your ad properly. But in most cases, if you have picked your targeting in the right way, you will you will see messages which you would have liked to engage with. So in some ways you're actually doing them service by bringing your message in front of them, because that may be a problem that they had in their mind as well. So um, and probably that's how some of you have come to our webinar today, may have registered to our webinar through seeing our Facebook ad. And if you have, then just let me know. Maybe just put it on the chat so we would know if you saw us through a Facebook ad, and that's how you've come to this event, to the webinar today. The other myth which I hear of quite often is where people just boost the post to get better results. That's what they do. And it's easy to be tempted to do that. I mean, once if you've done a really good image, a good organic post, Facebook hounds you with supposedly important message. It gives you the invitation to boost that post and promote your page and promote your website, or put this out there. And with, it seems like pretty low risk. Sometimes it says put $5 to boost the post, and it seems like pretty low risk to put $5 and see what happens. And Facebook, I mean, once you start to do that, that's when things become even more irritating, when Facebook starts to sort of blast you with confusing messages about retargeting options and things like that. And I know some of you may have fallen into Facebook advertising by just starting with boost the post. So for Renee, who has just mentioned that you've just logged in and would like to know about the other two myths, the other two ones were, and we can, I believe we are recording this webinar, so we should be able to share the deck with all the people who've attended the webinar today. The other two myths that I had shared earlier was where people believe that with Facebook, you just an image and text, and that's all that you need to get started with your Facebook ad. Or the fact that you really don't need ads because organic is the way, because with organic you are reaching people who want to be engaged with you, and it doesn't really cost any money. So, and this seems the natural way to do it. But again, as I had shared earlier, that with Facebook, the way they have changed their algorithm, even though there may be 3,000 people who like your page, and you put a post today on your Facebook, those 3,000 people may not see the content that you have posted, based on how Facebook decides to show the content on people's newsfeed. You can get more reach only when their friends of people have watched it, or you have got a lot more comments and likes and shares. And the more engagement, likes, shares, and comments you get, the more chances of it getting shown in people's newsfeed is. But how do you get that when you actually haven't got that to start with? So it has to start somewhere for it to get more engagement. So I just want to get you to sort of share with us on this poll, which may come up on your screen now, is if you could share with us, are you currently running ads on social media? So if you could just respond to us on that poll. If you are currently running Facebook social advertising on social media using Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising, are not doing it currently, or have done it in the past as well, that will be good to know, so we can get an assessment of the audience and understand how the people who are in our room today have sort of engaged. Gosh, That's a, I can see the results as they're coming in. I'm not sure if every one of you has put in your poll. If you have, that would be great, because then you can break the tie that we have. We have 50% in the room who have used Facebook advertising and 50% who haven't. So it is a very, very split audience. If we have there are none who have not done in the past, which is great. So those of you who are doing are currently doing. Awesome. I can see some balance moving. So there are, oh gosh, great, good. So 75% of you are actually running Facebook ads. That's great. And 25% of you aren't and maybe considering. Awesome. That's great. Well, today, I'm sure, that by the time we finish this session, you would have come up with few aha moments, few things that you can look out and watch for and learn from the examples that I share of managing Facebook advertising. So to give you a bit of a background about myself, and I believe most of you would have seen my face, may have come to this webinar by seeing a Facebook ad, and that's me when I was recording the webinar invite for this webinar. And that's how probably some of you have come and joined us. To give you a bit of a background, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Arrow Digital Marketing. Arrow Digital has been running for 10 years now. At the start of this year, in 2007, we started the business in 2007, and Jan 2007, so now celebrating 10 years of the business. When we started the company, the biggest challenge that people had was that how can I be found on Google? And that was the big holy grail, to be top rankings on Google. And while search and organic and Google is still a key part of how most businesses win new clients, there is over the last 5 years and more recently, over the last 2-3 years, Facebook and social have just gained as much power in terms of helping businesses grow through social channels. We've been managing campaigns for clients, Google campaigns and social media campaigns. I believe in just last 18 months, we have managed 40 plus campaigns for clients, 40 different accounts for Facebook advertising. And within those accounts, probably 750 different campaigns across those accounts. And so I have learned few things, during working on these campaigns, on what can sometimes be quite complex as well, because as you may know, for a newcomer, as some of you may be managing it yourself or may have somebody else manage it for you, you may find that the Facebook ad platform can be daunting, and it's important for you to ensure that your money is being spent in the right place and on the highest performing ad concepts. And it's knowing how where to spend your money on, and which channels, which ads are being more effective. Knowing that is important. So that's me presenting at the search engine. I think it was a boot camp in Sydney, the Search Marketing Experts and Industry event, and again talking on search or social. So let's talk about advertising. And one of the things which quite a few people sort of think about from when you talk advertising is the first decision is CPC or CPM, which is good and well. And for some of you who may not know these terms, just for the benefit of those who may not understand what these terms mean really, when you start advertising, and for any digital advertising, there are few methods by which you can decide to pay. A CPC is where you decide to pay per click. So whether it's with every campaign, let's say Google if you're running or Facebook you're running, you will have a CPC as a method which will where you get charged based on the click. And cost per click, you pay as an advertiser each time a user interacts or clicks on your ad. And it's a really important metric to know, even if you are not following a CPC platform, is the lower the CPC, the more people you can get on your site for the same advertising budget, right? So you want to keep your CPC as low as possible. That determines the effectiveness of your campaign. CPM is cost per impression, and that is generally based on per thousand impressions, and that is a good method of using as a for advertising when your goal is branding. So if you are a new business and you want to just improve the branding, and not as much as good, if you look at a funnel, a sales funnel or an attraction marketing funnel, at the top is awareness, brand awareness, and at the lower end of the funnel is conversion or sales. So if you are looking at the top of the funnel, that's when CPM channel could be an effective way, or as a method for advertising. With CPC, Facebook only shows ad to the people who are most likely to click on it. With CPM, Facebook will show your ad based on per view. And so there it is, how many people are most likely to be seeing that by view, and more often used for brand awareness or like campaign. So if you have been using Facebook advertising for a brand awareness or like campaign, you may decide to use CPM as a method, or use CPC, which is where you are paying per click. So let's now talk about the ways how do you get success in Facebook advertising. So there are probably 7 different success factors for Facebook advertising, from funnel to audience to message to the targeting. But what I'll share with you today is one key success factor, and go into 5 different aspects of that key success factor. And that is your audience. That is, who are you serving your ad to? Let's talk about audience for a minute. So for every ad that we look at, there is the message, and then there is who does that message get served to. So for this for the next half an hour probably, I'll be sharing with you about how to select who does this message go to, because that is so critical. And of course, images and content and headline all have their own place, and the creative, but it's really who are you serving this ad to that I want to focus this on, because I've seen so many campaigns fail because they have not chosen their target audience correctly. If you are smart with your audience choices, then you can see a very, very high return from your marketing budget. And I will share with you some experiments we had done on fairly low budgets to test different audience profiles. So one of the examples that I'll share with you is for a site which for a business that sells this protein mousse, which is low gluten free, low fructose, and it's a guilt free chocolate. Really, it's a guilt free chocolate and chocolate mousse, which you can, but is also high in protein. So it's a really good product, and something like this you can't get success with search advertising. There won't be many people who are searching for high protein, low sugar chocolate. While there would be, so that can probably be taken care of through Google Ads. But through social, if we want to tempt people who we think are like to know about health and fitness, are nutrition conscious, may have defined that they are gluten-free products, they are intolerant to gluten products, then and we've defined that target audience, then how do we make sure that our message gets right in front of them? So what we did for this campaign was, we, as you will see, we have two different creatives there, and the message is quite similar of satisfy your taste buds when getting high quality nutrition and instant protein mousse, and the company claims to be the first high protein, carb free, sugar free, lactose free, paleo friendly chocolate bar. So it doesn't really get better than this. So it's the product. Now, what we did for this campaign was that we decided to just put $20 a day budget and run it for 5 days and see what sort of returns we get from that campaign. And the idea really here is that you, even with an experiment, you want to have at least couple of creatives there. So don't have just one creative tested on 5 different audience. If you want to experiment, you want to have 2 creatives, each tested on 5 different audience. So if you are taking notes somewhere, I want you to write this, that don't start a campaign without first picking 2 different creatives and having 5 different audience sets to share that share that, put that advertising in front of, because that's how you will really get that information and experiment on what is really working for you. With this campaign on $20 a day budget, we were able to sell 25 products. So 25 products on a spend of $100, total $100, and each product is about $35 each. So we were able to generate a revenue of about $870 on a spend of $100, $20 a day. And that's something that becomes so, that knowledge itself can help you with other advertising and promotions that you do. This client went on to do a radio ad in the next month, and knowing what message really clicked in social with Facebook advertising on this $20 a day campaign running for 5 days, they were able to gain insights into what sort of message really resonates with people, so that when you are paying $3,000 for a radio ad which will run for a week, you are absolutely certain about the message and the content that you're sharing on that radio ad. Because with Facebook you can change your creative fairly quickly, but with an advertising like radio, once you've done the creative, you have to run with it for the next for the campaign duration, which is another reason why I love digital advertising, is the ability that you have to quickly change your message and try different ad copies and different images and different content. The next example that I want to share with you is about an e-commerce store, and I know some of you have e-commerce stores that you have that you are in. And it will be again good to maybe before I jump on this one, it will be good to get on a poll and just find out from you what if you have how are you currently which with your social media ads or platforms, what is your biggest challenge with your platforms? Which social media platforms have performed best for you? Before I delve more into it, so you will see a poll coming up. What's your biggest challenge with your social media advertising? Is it that you're time poor? Is it that you are not? You feel that you probably need more skills? How are you finding that the cost is quite high? Or is it that you're not getting enough leads coming through? And so basically you find that it is not being as effective. So share with us if you feel what according to you is your biggest challenge. It's just not having the time to go in and make tweaks on the campaign, watch it closely, look at the metrics data, and pause campaigns and tweak campaigns, or is it more you're not quite sure exactly whether if you have the skills to do it. So it'll be good if I could get some more numbers. I can see the poll numbers moving, but yeah, if I could, if you all can just share as share your where you are at, what your biggest challenge is, that will sort of help me to tailor what the presentation is, so it is more in line with what your biggest challenge is. Time, okay, again, wow. So it seems that when the results come out, it's almost again an equal split. So it is 1/3 split between being time poor, not having enough skills, and not getting enough leads. Um, we can share the poll results. I'm not sure if you all can see the poll results on your screen. So that's really where the audience is sitting, which sort of tells me that it's a bit of everything, which is fine. So let me share this with you, which is an example on a campaign we did for an e-commerce store. Now, this e-commerce store sells women's clothing, and it's they're a store based in Queensland, and they have clothing, the young trendy clothing, and our goal with this campaign was to get sales. It is not about brand awareness. We just need more sales to come through. So what we did for this campaign was we set up, the client is an e-commerce store, and we can track every action. We can track every stage from the click on the ad to the click to the website, checking the product, adding it to the shopping cart, and a final purchase. So we can, with Facebook, the pixel tracking, which we may not have much time to cover today, but as some of you may know, those who are running your Facebook ads, that Facebook has changed the pixel tracking code. Earlier, you had to set up different pixel for different actions, and now there is one UTM, one universal tag, which you put across your website, and then that same tag gives you actions based on where people are, what actions they are taking based on the elements that you have defined. So because we could spend with confidence, knowing exactly where the dollar was going, we put together this campaign on $50 a day budget and experimenting with different audiences. The numbers that we got from a 1 week time frame was that we got a reach of about 53,000 people, reach for the ad at a frequency of 1.98, which means that on an average, the people who were exposed to our ad saw the ad at least maybe about 2 times. And frequency is a very important measure for a campaign as well. You'd want the frequency to be at anywhere between 3 and 4, because people don't just look at an ad and click it. You want to be in front of them few times before they build that familiarity and then take action. At the same time, you don't want the frequency to be 15, 16, or 18, which means that your ad is being shown to the same people over and over again, which can be annoying, can cause ad fatigue, and actually may mean that people just glaze over it. So when you are running campaigns, if this is a metric that you have not been looking and watching for, I encourage you to go back to your campaigns and look at the frequency of the current running campaigns and see what level it is at. So within 1 week, that's a sort of data that you expect to get, about 2 or 3 within a week's time. What was really appealing to us was the level of engagement we got from it. 847 engagement, which included 762 link clicks, which is exactly what we were looking for. We want people who look at the ad to go and click on it. Page likes was not the goal of the campaign at all, but we still got 33 page likes from it, which was just a nice to have side benefit. The 700 plus clicks that we got resulted in about under 50 cents of CPC. So we were getting a click for less than 50 cents. And I think some of that data, so the total purchases, as you can see from that, we got 52 purchases from that campaign in a week. So on a spend of $364, we were able to do 52 sales. And this is only tracking sales. It is, so if there is, when I say sales, it means orders. So if there is one, and typically people will do 2 or 3 orders. So with that one sale, 52 purchases does not mean 52 units. The units sold were much higher based on the average basket size. So our cost per conversion, for a sale was like $7. How many of you would like to sell on e-commerce product and get a sale, not just an inquiry or a subscription, but an actual sale for less than $7? I'm sure quite a few in the room would love to have those sort of results. Sometimes, we have, if you have any more comments on the information and the content that we're sharing, just put those comments in. If we are not able to get to and answer them during this webinar, we will still have a record of that, and we will come back to all of your queries and answer all of them for you, to make sure that none of your things can go unanswered. And I think the challenge with presenting a webinar, and I'm more of seminar person, I'm more of front facing, I can see you nodding, that's when I get more energy and I sort of feel that to keep going. Just now, which is why we have this event coming up, the seminar next month coming up on 6th of April. It's a half-day seminar. And it's happening in Melbourne, so I'm not sure how many of you are not in Melbourne. But even if you are not, Melbourne is a beautiful place to be in. If some of you are in Sydney, and I know you've had pretty crappy weather there with rain, it's a good excuse to come down to Melbourne, attend the seminar, half-day seminar, and we will, and of course, enjoy all that Melbourne has to offer. So sometimes I know when you're doing a webinar, it's hard to know what you're thinking, what you're sharing. So please feel free to use the chat. Put your comments in. Any questions that you have during my presentation, just fire them out, and we will answer those queries for you. So going back to the experiment that I was sharing on Mishka, the data that we got from it really helped us, fine tune it. But I want to share with you about how to know your audience and build it from scratch. So when we were talking 5 ways on how to make Facebook advertising more effective, the 5 ways are about your audience. Now, for those of you who, again, the 50% of you in the room who are running Facebook advertising, you must be familiar with this screen, where when you start to set up a campaign, you can do targeting. And when you do targeting, you can do a very detailed, targeting based on demographic and households and composition. So you can target people whether they are parents, whether this is for a different campaign that I will share with you. But I just wanted to bring this screen up so you would know how you can build your audience right from scratch. And that is what we call prospecting. So prospecting is where you are using Facebook to get the data on who you would reach out to. So at the next example, and I believe that sometimes examples, I mean, I can go here and talk about concepts and theories, and this is what frequencies, and this is what, your impression share should be. But when you actually look at a live case study or an example, that's when you can start to put things in perspective. So with prospecting as a method of reaching to your target audience, in that you are relying on Facebook tools to put your message out in front of the target audience that you believe is going to meet your ideal customer profile. And how do we define our ideal customer profile? And sometimes this is my starting point. When I start a campaign with clients, I ask them to provide me their client avatar. Who is their client? It's what do they look like? And I'll take an example of a client that we're working on. They're called Juggle Street, and this client is what they do is they provide babysitters and helpers and nannies for parents with young kids who need help with either after school care for their children, or picking up kids from school before or after school, or driving them to different activities. And while there are quite a few websites which sort of help you find a babysitter, this site is quite unique in a way that it helps you find people real time. It's almost like an Uber for childcare. So you can find somebody who's near you, who's trusted, who's rated, so you can find a babysitter with confidence. So this was a campaign that we set up with them for prospecting, which was a really simple visual of a nanny with kids, and with a message to say, now that school is back, we ran this campaign in Feb to say now back to school routine. So if you're juggling with school pickups, then Juggle Street and its network of trusted babysitters can help you. And parents just register online, and it's a paid subscription model. And once they register online, they can then see who are the other helpers registered and within the network, and then can contact them based on their rating and based on how far they are from their home. So what we did with this campaign from a prospecting point of view, this service is just now only available in Sydney. So if there are any parents of young kids here, you may want to check the site out as well. It's called jugglestreet.com. So what we did with this was to target people who match our criteria of parents who are young parents who are either new parents or live within our parents of pre-scholars. Sorry, I'll take you to one slide before this, because this may one slide before this, which may really help. So what we did with this was we built the audience from scratch by prospecting and targeted new parents, because new parents sometimes, especially if they have an older sibling, need help with childcare. Parents with toddlers, parents with pre-scholars, parents with early school-age children. Now, a demographic like this, before Facebook days, I really don't know what other method people had to reach a demographic like that. It's just so powerful that now I can create an advertising campaign and really target people and parents with toddlers who are between 0 to 2 years of age, between 3 to 5 years of age, and 6 to 8 years of age. So again, if there's people in the room who have your target market is a parent, and whether it's an older parent, you can target people or parents based on the age as well. So demographic targeting. You can also target people based on their interested behavior and other connections, which helps you to refine your prospecting audience really well. And it's in your experiments on which segment and which demographic segment works well for you will really define how many leads you end up getting. And the approach that I generally follow, based on, of course, budget and campaign goals, is to sometimes start on a higher funnel and start broader, and then sort of drill it down based on what we know is working. And once you start a campaign, Facebook starts to show you audience data and audience insights as well, to on what is working well for you. So if so, that is your prospecting campaign, of how you could reach people via prospecting. And this is just some data to show you on how the same campaign was giving or on different ad messages being run to show a different creative to different people. The next example, actually still within prospecting, is what we did for a company which is into home loans, and to help them to refinance. And we said, find a better home loan, and nearly everybody here has a mortgage to pay, and we would be very happy to save money on mortgages. And again, on the same campaign, as you will see, we've targeted people based on mortgage calculator, commercial mortgages. They are interested in their first time home buyers, as well. This is another example of a prospecting campaign we did for a company which is into drainage and building drainage and stadium and shopping center drainage. And their target audience is obviously engineers. And again, you can match people who are engineers, people with job title of construction engineers, technicians, urban planners. And again, I don't know any other marketing platform which can allow you to target your message based on this. And the more you put, the more different, things you put in. Like here, we've put in mechanical engineers and general managers. We found that if the cost was very high for the action, we decided to take off certain profiles based on what is converting. And that really is where your experiment begins. And most people set up Facebook campaigns and sort of leave it. But you have to fine tune it. You have to keep going to the audience and keep changing your method on targeting with it. I know I'm running a bit behind in the seminar, but hopefully you all can hang on. I wanted to share this slide with you to just give you an example of the same image that we ran with slightly different prospecting. So we dropped few titles off from it, and you will see how the same image is giving us cost. I mean, the cost per action here ranges from $1.72 to $2.52. So it's a huge difference. You can get the same action for $1.70, or you could get it at $2.50 based on who you are showing your message to. So that the breakdown of who you show your message to can change your outcomes drastically. The next one that I want to share with you is the custom audience. So one was prospecting and the second is custom. With custom audience, it means that you are not using Facebook data to reach people. You are actually loading your own data to Facebook and saying, Mr. Facebook, these are the people who are already on my database. You may have a newsletter database, people who have subscribed to your newsletter, and most people have 5,000 to 7,000 people on their database. And share, please, I would urge you to just share on your chat the size of your database. I don't have time to run a poll, but if you just put your size of your database, I can come back to you with some amazing ideas on how you can use Facebook's custom audience as a tool and as a method to reach people. So what we did with this company, what they do is they do ballet lessons for little girls, and their target audience is obviously parents with parents of little girls who are interested in ballets and ballet lessons. And what we did with this was they used to offer a trial class, and then the option from that trial class for people to register. And there would be, they had about a few thousand people on the database who had taken trial classes but did not end up taking the registering for the lesson. So we ran this campaign for them, and and with that custom audience, we were able to get people register for a whole term of ballet lessons at only $17 per registration, as you can see from the screen there. And here we are talking actual registration. It is not just a lead, it is a sale. They have put in their card details. So on a spend of $1,000, we were able to get 60 registrations at $17 per registration, which the client was obviously pretty rapt about. The other option that you have with Facebook advertising is a lookalike campaign. So once you have given Facebook the custom audience, you can also create what is called a lookalike example. With a lookalike example, what Facebook will do is it will find people like the ones who are already on your database. So if you have obviously people who, if you have a list of your active clients, if you know this, you give the name, phone number, email address, location of your clients to Facebook and upload that information. Facebook will find other people who are similar in their profile. And what it means by profile is share the same interest, go to like similar pages, and then Facebook will create a lookalike campaign for you. With Juggle Street as an example that I had shared with you, with the lookalike campaign that we ran, we were able to reach about 35,000 people, and on a spend of $740, get 46 registrations. Again, just the only thing that is changing is the audience targeting here. The next one that I will share with you is retargeting or remarketing. So if you are running Facebook advertising, you should have pixels set up on your site so you can retarget people who have been on your website. So, and you may have noticed that for yourself. For those of you who may not be familiar how this works, is you check out a website, and then after a couple of hours you go to Facebook and you see their ad appearing. And I've had some people who just totally freak out. How is that? I was on Facebook and suddenly now I have this message on appearing on my Facebook as a message, although I have not clicked on their Facebook page at all. That's happening through retargeting. Retargeting is very, very effective. And what you can do again with that is create, just with that pixel code, give a very targeted message, because these are people who are slightly familiar with your brand. I'll just wrap up with the last section, which is image and text variation, which was something I thought I should share with you. And this is something which we've done just last 3 days. We were running a campaign for this Juggle Street account where we want to reach out now moms, not just with how to find a babysitter, but this time the message was get some me time, get some time back in your life, do yoga, go for a swim, have a coffee with your friend. So you will see what on your screen that we have exactly the same ad, same message, but just a different image. And a different image going to the same audience, the kind of results that we got from that was quite interesting. And you will see on this next slide that the same campaign with a slightly different message, what variance, the huge variance you get in terms of your CPC and link clicks. So one campaign is giving you 31 clicks at $4.25, and the other campaign is giving you clicks at nearly $6. So you can very quickly know what is working and what's not. And why most people who say Facebook advertising does not work is that they are running with an ineffective campaign and they have not done enough experiments with their image, text, and audience to actually optimize their campaign well. So just to sort of to help you ascertain what should your how much should you spend on Facebook advertising, which is quite a few people that they ask me. I ask them, what is your revenue per customer? And when you think of revenue, think of the lifetime value of customer. Don't just say, like, for example, that e-commerce store with clothing, your average value of sale may be $60, but once you get a client who has bought from you, they may buy from you 3 times more during the same year. So that makes the average value of the customer 60 times 3, that is $180. Once you know the end value, then you can work back on your numbers and think, how much can you spend on it? So the main thing really is on how to track and measure. So if you want, if so for the people in the room who are running your campaigns, if you want to examine your help, need expert help to examine the campaign, for us and my team to help you identify gaps and opportunities in your campaign. We talk the strategy, we set experiments for you, or we show you where your inefficiencies are and really help talk you through your campaign. And if you are looking for an expert opinion on that, we can not only just tell you what the reasons could be why you're not getting enough leads, but also dive in and do it for you. If you want help with that, just write to us, contact us, reply to us, and we will be able to help you out. And what we have on offer for people who are attending the webinar today is just on a payment of just $650, 2 payments of $650 each. We can not only examine your campaign, see what's working, identify the gaps and opportunities, maybe go back at the storyboard level and talk strategy, what the end goal you're achieving. Are you at the right funnel? Is your audience right? Is your message right? And really do it all for you. So it's a, as you would see, it's a really good offer. 2 payments of $650 each, and you can have it all done for you. I look forward to working with some of you who have spent 1 hour with me just talking and listening in. So thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry we've gone a little bit over time, but thank you so much for attending. I hope you got some value and some insights from this session today, and I look forward to being in touch with you down the track. Have a great day. Bye.